Mirjam Grootveld. I'm Coordinator Projects and Policy at DANS, and this talk is about open and fair research data. First, let's hear some reasons why you should manage and share your data. Self-interest, for instance. Imagine you lose your laptop and you don't have a recent backup, or maybe no backup at all. But on a more positive note, there are some indicators that when you publish and refer in your article to the datasets in a repository, your article may be cited more often than when you simply write "data are available on request." Another argument is that as a researcher in the Netherlands, you should comply with the Code of Conduct for Research Integrity, and that also implies that you contribute to making your data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable in accordance with the FAIR principles. Another reason is that there is value in data and value in reuse. Funders can spend the money only once, and they like it when they see your data are prepared to get another life when your study is finished and others can build on that. All of that brings us to the fair aspects of data. Data should be findable thanks to rich metadata and persistent identifiers like the DOI. You want them to be accessible with other metadata and retrievable through standard protocols. They should be interoperable in the sense that they use standard vocabularies, good definitions, and so on. And in the end, data are reusable, but you still have to tell others so by providing clear licenses how they can use your data. The fair data principles have become very popular in the nearly 7 years they exist. They're, in a sense, at the same level as love and world peace. However, some people find some aspects confusing. For instance, when it comes to the comparison of open data and fair data. On the one hand, you have open data like this bird shows. You can see what there is, but it's not well documented. It may be hard to combine the different pieces. So yes, it's open, but it's not fair. On the other hand, data, for instance, data about people, data related to security, or data about commercial interests can probably not be shared openly, but still they need to be fair. Another tricky aspect can be the interoperability, because it sounds a bit geeky. But it isn't, it's deeply human. We try to speak the same language so that we understand one another. And in the past we have done that. When we spoke about distance and time, we do have standards for time and for distance. We have more recent standards and vocabularies for comparing and aggregating data about a healthcare process, for instance. So interoperability is typically something you already take care of when you do proper research. I said funders expect data to be reusable, and they call it also fair in their policies. This is an example from the website of NWO, which asks for open and fair data. And they expect you to plan your data management in that sense and to write an explicit data management plan. The good thing is that NWO also provides what they call an assessment rubric, which contains indicators of acceptable information in the data management and of insufficient information in data management plans. So it's out there to help you as a researcher or research support person. And there is more support. I'll conclude this talk with giving you some examples from various projects and initiatives. First, of course, the Academy has some information. We do have a policy on open access and digital preservation in the Academy. It is a bit outdated, be aware of that. So when you're looking for trustworthy repositories to preserve your data digitally, you should look for the Core Trust Seal and no longer for the Data Seal of Approval. Core Trust Seal is the successor and it's more accurate at the moment. You can also approach the contact person for open science in your institute. All institutes have them and you find their contact information at the internet. Open Air is a European project and a European program that supports the open science ambition of the European Commission. And the Open Air website is rich with guides, webinars, recordings all kinds of resources. Here, for instance, you see a lot of topics from the guides. They are short and very practical about preservation, legal aspects, how to make your data fair, and so on. Another international organization, the Consortium of Social Science Data Archives in Europe, collaborated to develop a whole training. It's online available, an expert tour guide on data management. And the chapters are organized in the order of the research data lifecycle. Each chapter pays attention to both qualitative and quantitative data, so this makes this training useful for people also outside the social sciences. The chapters contain expert tips, and all along the route you will flesh out your data management plan if you're working on that. When you develop software, when you're a code developer, you might find these recommendations from the fairsoftware.eu site relevant. That it's based on an initiative by the Netherlands eScience Center and DANS, and it contains 5 recommendations, only 5, to make your code fair, because code is also a research output which should be findable and reusable and so on. And finally, there is a tool provided by the FAIR's FAIR project, another example of European projects that provide support in the FAIR area. And this tool helps you to understand and increase the fairness of your data for the purpose of reuse. The takeaway of this presentation is that data management is all in a day's work for researchers and research supporters. When you think about data management, it makes sense to assume the point of view of a future user of those data. And as a new motto, I would promote as open as possible and always fair. Thank you very much.